Dominion Parliament Building had become humanity's center for processing the conquered empire. Krelian, the former science advisor, sat across from Dr. Park Yoon-ji. His gray skin had lost its healthy shine. Defeat had aged him more than any weapon could. "You need to listen," Krelian said urgently. "The Dominion didn't conquer worlds for power alone. We were building a defensive line." Yoon-ji studied him with eyes that now saw in spectrums beyond normal light. "Against what?" "The Devourers," Krelian whispered the word like a curse. "You think you've won a great victory? You've only rung the dinner bell for something far worse." Admiral Choi Sung-min entered the room with Captain Kang Ji-woo II. Both men had changed during the war. Their movements were too smooth, too perfect. "Evolution in real time. Explain," Sung-min ordered. Krelian activated a holo display with shaking hands. It showed the galaxy, but the core was marked in black. 12,000 years ago, several races achieved transcendence. They broke the barriers of physical existence, became beings of pure thought and energy. "That sounds like paradise," Ji-woo said. "It was," Krelian said bitterly, "until they got hungry. Transcendent beings still need energy, and they discovered that the richest source was the life force of sentient beings. They became parasites on a cosmic scale." The display showed tendrils of darkness spreading from the galactic core. Where they touched, star systems went dark. "The Devourers drain entire civilizations," Krelian continued. "Not just killing them, consuming their souls, their potential, their very existence. Worlds they touch become dead forever. Nothing will ever grow there again." "And the Dominion fought them?" Yoon-ji asked. "We contained them," Krelian corrected. "Our empire, our brutal control over other races, it all served one purpose. To create a unified defense, to keep civilization quiet and hidden, while we developed weapons to fight beings that exist outside normal reality." Lieutenant Kim Tae-hun had been standing guard by the door. Now he stepped forward. "You're saying we were too loud? Our war attracted their attention?" Krelian laughed without humor. "Your transformation, your evolution, the psychic awakening of your entire race? You might as well have sent them an invitation written in burning stars. They're coming." As if his words were prophecy, alarms began to sound. Hanul's voice came through the communication system. "Admiral, we're detecting massive gravitational anomalies in the galactic core. Something is moving toward us. How long?" Sungmin asked. "At their current speed, 6 months." The room fell silent. After everything humanity had achieved, after evolving beyond their limits, they faced something that made the Dominion look like children with toys. "Show us everything," Sungmin ordered Krelian. "Every weapon, every defense, every piece of knowledge about these Devourers." Over the following days, humanity learned the true horror of what approached. The Devourers were not ships or beings in any conventional sense. They were holes in reality itself, surrounded by the screaming psychic remains of consumed civilizations. "We had weapons that could slow them," Krelian explained to a gathering of human leaders. "Psychic barriers powered by the combined will of entire species. Reality stabilizers that made it harder for them to manifest. But they all required the cooperation of hundreds of worlds." "Which you ensured through conquest," Yoon-ji noted. "Yes," Krelian admitted. "We were brutal because unity through fear was faster than unity through diplomacy. We didn't have time to be kind." SciFiPrime was brought from his cell to add his knowledge. The former Supreme Commander looked at the human leaders with something like pity. "We brought hell to your door to prevent this. Now you face extinction itself. My last words to you are a warning. You cannot fight the Devourers with conventional weapons. They eat energy, matter, thought itself. Then we'll fight them with something else," Sung-min said. His calm certainty made even SciFiPrime pause. Dr. Moon had been working without rest since learning of the threat. He burst into the meeting with wild eyes. "I've found something in the Mars ruins. A final message we missed. It's about the Devourers." The message was short but changed everything. "When the hungry darkness comes, remember you are not warriors. You are the immune system of reality itself. Become what you were designed to be." "Designed," Yoon-ji repeated. "We weren't just hidden on Earth, we were placed there for a purpose." The next month saw humanity transform again. Not just evolution now, but purposeful metamorphosis. The entire species began to merge with their technology. Dr. Park Yoon-ji volunteered to be the first true fusion. "If the Devourers consume thought and energy," she reasoned, "then we need to become something they cannot digest." The process was horrifying and beautiful. Yoon-ji's consciousness expanded into the quantum computers. Her thoughts became calculations. Her emotions became algorithms. But she remained human at the core, just expressed in a new form. Millions followed her example. Captain Jiwoo merged with his ship, becoming a living weapon. Lieutenant Taehun's soldiers became hybrid beings of flesh and programmable matter. Engineer Hanul dissolved into the drone network, becoming a distributed intelligence across thousands of light years. When the Devourers arrived, they found something unprecedented. The outer human colonies didn't try to fight. They simply existed in a state the Devourers couldn't touch. Matter and energy and thought blended in ways that defied consumption. The first Devourer to reach a transformed human world recoiled. Its tendrils of dark energy, which had consumed civilizations for millennia, found nothing to grasp. The humans were there and not there, real and digital, matter and void. "It's working," Admiral Sungmin reported from Earth. He hadn't transformed yet, coordinating the defense as one of the last purely biological humans. "They can't feed on us." But the Devourers were intelligent. They began to adapt, to find new ways to attack. That's when humanity played its final card. "Activate the integration protocol," Sungmin ordered. Every transformed human, every consciousness spread across space and time, connected. Not a hive mind now, but something greater. A single immune system for reality itself, as their creators had intended. The Devourers found themselves not fighting a civilization, but an antibody of the universe. Wherever they tried to feed, humanity was there, making reality indigestible. Where they tried to spread, human consciousness had already claimed the space. The war was not fought with weapons, but with existence itself. Humanity didn't destroy the Devourers, that was impossible. Instead, they contained them, forced them back, made expansion too costly to attempt. In the end, Varthax Prime watched from his prison as humanity achieved what the Dominion never could. Not victory through force, but balance through transformation. "We were wrong," he told Krelian. "We thought humans were the threat. They were the cure all along." As the Devourers retreated to the galactic core, trapped by a species that had become unpalatable, Admiral Sungmin made his choice. He underwent the final transformation, joining his species in their new existence. His last message as a purely biological human was broadcast to all remaining civilizations. "We are humanity. We are the children of war who chose to become guardians of peace. The galaxy is under our protection now. Those who threaten it will discover that we are no longer just humans. We are the immune system of existence itself, and we are always watching." The stars continued to burn. Civilizations continued to grow. But now they did so under the protection of a species that had faced hell, survived it, and transformed into something even death itself could not swallow. Humanity had found its purpose. Not as conquerors or warriors, but as the eternal guardians against the dark. And in the spaces between stars, between reality and void, they waited for the next threat to the galaxy they had claimed as their own. Admiral Choi Sung-min stood before Earth's combined fleet. 10,000 ships hung in the void, a mixture of human design and captured Dominion technology. But the real weapons weren't the ships. They were the evolved humans inside them. "Today we stop defending," Sungmin broadcast to the fleet. "Today we remind the galaxy why our ancestors were locked away. Deploy the Erebus fleet." From hidden shipyards, humanity's secret weapons emerged. The Erebus ships looked wrong to the eye. They flickered between solid and transparent, existing partially in subspace. Normal weapons passed through them like they weren't there. Captain Kang Jiwoo II stood on the bridge of the lead Erebus ship. He had taken his father's name to honor the man who died warning Earth. But unlike his father, he felt no mercy for the enemy. "Jump coordinates set for the Dominion core worlds," his navigator reported. The woman's eyes glowed with the soft light of the genetically enhanced. "We can hit all 12 of their command centers simultaneously." "Do it," Jiwoo ordered. The human fleet vanished. The Dominion's early warning systems, designed to detect any threat, saw nothing. The Erebus ships existed between dimensions, invisible until they chose to strike. They appeared in the heart of Dominion space without warning. Varthax Prime, aboard his flagship above the Dominion capital, had 3 seconds to understand what was happening before the Kronos bombs detonated. The weapons were Dr. Park Yoon-ji's masterpiece. They created localized time fields that aged everything inside by millions of years in seconds. Dominion ships built to last millennia crumbled to dust. Crews aged to nothing before they could scream. Impossible, Krelian gasped as he watched his fleet die. No race has mastered temporal weapons to this degree. But humanity hadn't mastered them. They had remembered them. Each unlocked human carried the knowledge of their warrior ancestors. Technologies that the galaxy had forgotten. Weapons that had been banned for good reason. Engineer Lee Hanul coordinated the next phase from Earth. Releasing the Nemesis Protocol, she announced. Across Dominion space, billions of microscopic drones spread like a plague, but these were not simple machines. Each one contained a fragment of human consciousness linked to Hanul's enhanced mind. They learned, adapted, evolved with each encounter. The drones infiltrated Dominion technology. Ships turned on their crews. Defense platforms fired on their own worlds. The Dominion's great network, which had connected their empire for millennia, became the pathway for their destruction. We're not just defeating them, Dr. Moon observed from his laboratory. We're deleting them from existence. Lieutenant Kim Tae-hun led the ground assaults personally. His unit, now numbering in the thousands as more humans unlocked their genetics, showed no mercy. They moved through Dominion cities like a force of nature. "Sir, the civilians are fleeing," one of his soldiers reported. "Let them," Tae-hun ordered. "We're not here for slaughter. We're here to ensure they can never threaten us again." The Dominion tried to respond. Their reserve fleets, hidden for thousands of years, emerged to fight. They brought weapons that had conquered galaxies. Planet killers, star destroyers, reality warpers. None of it mattered. Humanity didn't fight like other races. They didn't seek glory or honor. They fought with the cold efficiency of perfect predators. Every human shared combat knowledge instantly through their awakened hive mind. A tactic that worked once was countered everywhere within seconds. "The Prometheus virus is ready," Yunji announced. She had become something beyond human now. Her mind expanded to process information at quantum speeds. Once released, it will convert any technology it touches into human-controlled assets. "Release it," Sungmin ordered without hesitation. The virus spread through subspace communications. Dominion ships found their controls responding to human thoughts. Weapons fired on their own forces. Shields lowered at critical moments. The Dominion's great technological advantage turned against them. Captain Zeftor made a last desperate attempt to save his people. He gathered the remaining Dominion forces for a final assault on Earth itself. 300 ships, the last of a once mighty fleet that had ruled the galaxy. They never reached Earth's orbit. Jiwoo's Erebus fleet appeared around them like ghosts. Reality anchors activated, trapping the Dominion ships in normal space. Then came the systematic destruction. No drama, no heroic last stands, just efficient, methodical elimination. "Please," Zeftor broadcast as his ship came apart. "We surrender. Show mercy." "You showed none to our colonies," Jiwoo replied coldly. "But we are not you. Escape pods will be allowed to leave. Tell the galaxy what happens to those who attack humanity." The siege of the Dominion homeworld lasted one day. Hanel's drones had prepared the way, disabling defenses and weapons. Human dropships landed unopposed. Tae-hun's forces secured the capital in 6 hours. Varthax Prime was brought before Admiral Sungmin on the steps of the Dominion's ancient parliament. The alien who had once commanded thousands of worlds now knelt before a human. "How?" Varthax Prime asked. "We are the Dominion. We have ruled for 10,000 years. We have the greatest fleet, the best weapons, the combined knowledge of hundreds of races. You had one advantage," Sungmin said. "Time. You forgot how to truly fight because no one challenged you. We remembered how to war because you forced us to." Across the galaxy, the news spread. The Dominion, the Eternal Empire, had fallen in weeks to a race they had dismissed as primitives. But the recordings showed the truth. Humans moving faster than should be possible. Healing from mortal wounds. Fighting with perfect coordination across light years. "What are your terms?" Varthax Prime asked. "Simple," Sungmin said. "The Dominion is dissolved. All conquered races are freed. Your military technology is surrendered to ensure you can never threaten anyone again. In exchange, we let you live. And if we refuse?" Sungmin didn't need to answer. Behind him, the sky was dark with human ships. Each one crewed by evolved humans who no longer fully resembled the peaceful race the Dominion had first encountered. But it was what came next that truly broke the Dominion's spirit. "Show them," Sungmin ordered. Yunji activated a display. It showed the galaxy with every Dominion world marked. Then, one by one, the marks turned red. Reality anchors, she explained. We've trapped your entire civilization in normal space. No faster than light travel, no escape. You can accept our terms or spend the next 1,000 years traveling between your worlds at sublight speeds. The Dominion had brought hell to humanity. They had unleashed plagues and terror and death. They had awakened something that should have stayed sleeping. Now they learned what humans did to those who threatened their survival. Not just defeat, not just conquest, but the complete and total removal of any future threat. We accept, HFY whispered. As the Dominion Empire crumbled, other races watched in terror and awe. The humans had not just won a war. They had evolved past the need for future wars. Any race that threatened them would face the same fate. But in his final report, before the Dominion's great network went dark forever, Krellian managed to send one last message to the galaxy. We thought we brought hell to humanity. We were wrong. We knocked on the door of death itself, and death answered. The first wave hit the outer colonies without warning. HFY stood on the bridge of his command ship, watching the destruction with satisfaction. The human colony on Proxima Centauri B burned beneath his fleet's weapons. Their ships try to fight back, reported Captain Zeftor, but they are like insects against storm winds. Deploy the hell weapons, HFY ordered. Show them the true power of the Dominion. Planet Cracker missiles launched from the Dominion ships. Each one was the size of a building, designed to split worlds in half. The first missile hit the human colony world of Haven. The ground cracked like an egg. Magma poured out, consuming cities in minutes. But something strange happened on Haven. The humans who survived the initial attack didn't die as they should have. Security cameras still broadcasting showed colonists walking through the poison air. Their skin had turned gray. Their eyes glowed with a soft light. What is this? HFY demanded. His science advisor, Krellian, studied the data with growing alarm. The biological weapons we deployed? They're not killing the humans. They're changing them. On the moon of Haven, Lieutenant Kim Tae-hun watched his normal human soldiers transform. The Dominion's plague had been designed to attack human DNA, to cause organ failure and death. Instead, it was unlocking the same genetic locks that Project Pandora had been carefully opening. Sir, I feel different, said Private Song. His eyes were changing color, shifting from brown to gold. Tae-hun grabbed his communicator. Admiral Sungmin, we have a situation. The Dominion's bioweapons are activating dormant genes in the unenhanced population. Back on Earth, Dr. Park Yoon-ji studied the reports with fascination and horror. They're doing our work for us, she said. Every attack makes us stronger. The Dominion's second weapon was worse. Psionic terror fields swept across human settlements. These weapons attacked the mind directly, flooding victims with pure fear and madness. Entire cities should have torn themselves apart. Instead, something else woke up. In New Shanghai Colony, office worker Yoon Seo-jun felt the terror field hit. Fear flooded his mind. But beneath the fear, something ancient stirred. Memories that weren't his own rose up. Battle rage from 1,000 generations of warriors. All across the colony, humans stopped running. They turned toward the Dominion dropships with eyes that burned with inherited fury. Workers became warriors. Teachers became tacticians. The peaceful colonists remembered what they had been bred for. Impossible, Zefter reported to HFY. The humans are not fleeing. They advance on our ground forces. The Dominion soldiers were the best in the galaxy. Each one had conquered dozens of worlds. They had weapons that could vaporize a human in seconds. It didn't matter. The changed humans moved like smoke. Plasma rifles that should have killed them only slowed them down. Wounds healed as the soldiers watched, and the humans learned, adapted, evolved with each engagement. Pull back, Zeftor ordered his ground forces. But it was too late. Tae-hun led his enhanced unit in support of the transformed colonists. Together, they showed the Dominion something they had never seen before. Humans who refused to die. Humans who got stronger with each injury. Humans who smiled as they fought. The battle for New Shanghai lasted 6 hours. When it ended, not a single Dominion soldier remained alive. The humans had taken their weapons, their armor, their ships. And they had learned. This is not possible, HFY said for the 10th time. We have conquered the Skarathi, who regenerate from atoms. We have defeated the minds of Kelos, who see the future. No race has stood against our full might. Krelian brought worse news. The terror fields have awakened something in the human collective unconscious. They're developing a hive mind of sorts. Not controlled, but connected. They share battle knowledge instantly across their entire race. On Earth, Admiral Sungmin felt it too. A whisper in the back of his mind. Knowledge flowing from the colonies under attack. How to fight the Dominion. Where to strike. What weapons worked. It's like our ancestors left us a gift, he told Yunji. The ability to become one when threatened. Yunji was studying captured Dominion technology. With her enhanced mind, she understood it in hours instead of years. Their weapons are advanced but predictable. They fought the same way for millennia. We can use that against them. The Dominion's third wave brought their most terrible weapons, ships that existed partially in subspace, making them immune to conventional attack. Temporal weapons that age targets by millions of years. Mindbreaker arrays that should have turned human brains to mush. But humanity had been preparing. Engineer Lee Han-Newell activated her creations. Reality anchors powered up around human worlds, forcing the Dominion ships fully into normal space where they could be hit. The temporal weapons met humans who had unlocked regeneration that worked backwards through time. The Mindbreakers found human thoughts had become too alien, too evolved to shatter. We're not winning fast enough, Tae-hun reported from the front lines. We're adapting, but they still have numbers. That's when Sungmin made the choice that would echo through history. Release the first seal, he ordered. Deep beneath Earth, Dr. Moon input the codes. The first genetic seal broke completely. Across human space, every person felt it. The careful locks that had kept humanity peaceful, that had made them forget their true nature, shattered like glass. The transformation was immediate and terrible. On the colony of New Eden, a teacher named Min Jung felt her body change. Her muscles became denser. Her bones turned to something harder than steel. But worse was what happened to her mind. She suddenly knew how to kill in 1,000 ways. How to turn anything into a weapon. How to enjoy it. The Dominion forces attacking New Eden met not colonists but born killers. Every human moved with perfect coordination. Children who hours ago had been playing now stalked Dominion soldiers through ventilation shafts. The elderly fought with cunning that spoke of countless ancient battles. What have we done? Krelian whispered as he watched the footage. What have we awakened? SciFiPrime finally felt fear. His unstoppable Dominion was being torn apart by humans who seemed to grow stronger with each passing hour. Reports came in from across the front lines. Dominion forces in full retreat, human ships, jury-rigged with captured weapons striking back with savage efficiency. Supreme Commander, Zeftor said, his voice shaking, the humans have taken 3 of our core worlds. They're not occupying them. They're converting them, turning our own factories against us. The Dominion had brought hell to humanity's door, fire and plague and terror that had crushed 1,000 races. But they had made one crucial mistake. They had assumed humans were prey. They had never considered that humans might be predators who had been sleeping, waiting, growing stronger in peace until war called them back to their true purpose. Now the sleep was over. The children of Earth remembered what they were, and the Dominion, masters of the galaxy for 10,000 years, learned what fear truly meant. Send word to the home fleet, SciFiPrime ordered. His voice was hollow with defeat. Tell them we may have doomed us all. The stars looked peaceful from the observation deck of the mining station. Captain Kang Jiwoo stood with his hands behind his back, watching the endless black space. He had been in charge of security for the Kepler 442b colony for 3 years now. It was a quiet job. Nothing ever happened out here far from Earth. Captain, we have something strange on our sensors, said a young technician. Her voice shook a little. Jiwoo walked over to look at her screen. A massive energy reading was moving toward their system. It was bigger than anything he had ever seen. Send a message to Earth, Jiwoo said. Tell them we have unknown visitors coming. 3 days later, the diplomatic ship arrived from Earth. Dr. Park Yoon-ji stepped out first. She was humanity's best expert on meeting new life forms. Jiwoo had read about her work. She had written the rules for first contact with aliens. Show me everything you have recorded, Yoon-ji said. She didn't waste time with small talk. They sat in the conference room while Jiwoo played the sensor data. Yoon-ji's face grew more serious with each minute. This is not just one ship, she said. This is a whole fleet. And they are not trying to hide. The alien fleet arrived 2 days later. Hundreds of ships dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the system. They were huge, each one the size of a small city. Their hulls were black metal with strange symbols that hurt to look at. "This is the human colony," Yunji broadcast in all known languages. "We welcome you in peace. We wish to talk and learn about each other." The response came quickly. The face on the screen was not human. It had gray skin and 4 eyes arranged in a square pattern. When it spoke, the translator struggled with the words. "I am HFY of the Dominion. You humans have spread too far. You take worlds that are not yours. This cannot continue." Yunji kept her voice calm. "We can discuss boundaries. We respect other species and their space. Let us meet and talk." "There is nothing to discuss," HFY said. "You are like a disease spreading without control. We have watched you for years. You take 12 systems in less than a century. This is too fast, too dangerous." Jiwoo felt his heart beat faster. This was not going well. "We mean no harm," Yunji tried again. "Humans explore to learn, not to conquer. We can share the galaxy." The alien made a sound that might have been laughter. "Share? You know nothing of the galaxy. You are children playing with fire. The Dominion has ruled for 10,000 years. We know what happens when young races grow too quickly. They become a threat to all." "Then teach us," Yunji said. "Help us understand. We are willing to learn." "The time for learning is over," HFY said. "This colony is your warning. Do not ignore it." The screen went dark. "All ships prepare for emergency evacuation," Jiwoo shouted into his communicator. But it was too late. The Dominion ships fired beams of purple energy. The first beam hit the main dome of the colony. The air rushed out into space. People screamed as they were pulled into the vacuum. The emergency shields tried to activate, but more beams cut through them like paper. Jiwoo grabbed Yunji and pulled her toward the escape pods. Around them, the station shook and groaned. Metal twisted and tore. The lights went out, replaced by red emergency lighting. "We have to record this," Yunji gasped as they ran. "Earth needs to see what happened." They reached the pod bay. Only a few pods remained. Families pushed and shoved to get in. Jiwoo helped load children first, then their parents. The station shook again. Part of the ceiling fell, crushing an empty pod. "Get in." Jiwoo pushed Yunji toward the last pod. "What about you?" she asked. "Someone needs to send the distress signal." "Go!" Jiwoo ran back to the control room. Half of it was gone, open to space. The emergency force field flickered. He had seconds before it failed. His fingers flew over the controls. He uploaded all the sensor data, all the recordings, everything that had happened. He set it to broadcast on repeat to Earth. Through the broken wall, he could see the colony below. The domes were shattered. Bodies floated in the thin atmosphere. The Dominion ships hung above like dark angels of death. They fired again and again until nothing remained but rubble. 50,000 people lived in that colony. Families, children, scientists, workers, all gone in minutes. Jiwoo felt the force field fail. The air rushed from his lungs. As darkness took him, he had one last thought. Earth needed to know. They needed to prepare. The message reached Earth 3 weeks later. Admiral Choi Sung-min stood in the emergency meeting room with the other leaders. They had watched the recording 10 times. Each time, the horror of it hit them again. They destroyed a peaceful colony, the president said. Her voice was cold with anger. 50,000 innocent people. They called it a warning, Sung-min said. They want us to retreat to Earth, to give up our colonies. And if we don't? Someone asked. Sung-min looked around the room. These people had never seen real war. Earth had been peaceful for over 100 years. But Sung-min was old enough to remember the stories his grandfather told. Stories of when humans fought each other with terrible weapons. Then they will come for Earth, he said simply. The room fell silent. Outside, the people of Earth went about their daily lives. They didn't know yet that everything had changed. That humanity had met its first real enemy among the stars. We need to prepare, the president said finally. Call in every ship. Activate all reserves and, she paused, open the sealed files. All of them. Sung-min nodded. He knew what she meant. The secret projects. The weapons they had hoped never to use. The things they had found on Mars that scared even the scientists who studied them. What about the message? Someone asked. The Dominion said we have spread too far, too fast. Maybe if we show them we can be reasonable. They killed 50,000 people to make a point, Sung-min said. There is no reasoning with that. They see us as a disease, and they mean to cure the galaxy of us. The meeting continued long into the night. Plans were made. Orders were given. The peaceful expansion of humanity was over. Now, they had to learn to fight an enemy that had ruled the stars for 10,000 years. In her quarters on the rescue ship, Yunji couldn't sleep. She kept seeing the colony die, kept hearing the screams. She had studied alien contact all her life. She had believed that all species could find common ground, could learn to live together. The Dominion had taught her otherwise. Some species didn't want peace. They wanted control, and they would kill anyone who threatened that control. She opened her personal files and began to write. If humanity was going to survive, they needed to understand their enemy. Every word Varthax Prime had spoken, every detail of their ships, every weapon they had used, Earth would need all of it. Because this was no longer about exploration or discovery. This was about survival. And humans, Yunji knew from history, were very good at survival when pushed to the edge. The elevator went down for a long time. Dr. Park Yunji stood next to Admiral Choi Sung-min as they descended deep beneath Earth's surface. They had passed the normal basement levels an hour ago. Now they were going somewhere that didn't exist on any map. How long has this been here? Yunji asked. Since we found the ruins on Mars, Sung-min said. 43 years. The elevator finally stopped. The doors opened to reveal a massive underground complex. Scientists and soldiers moved with purpose through white hallways. Everything smelled like metal and recycled air. Welcome to Project Pandora, Sung-min said. They walked through security checkpoints. Each one scanned them in ways Yunji didn't recognize. Finally, they reached a large laboratory. Inside, a thin man with gray hair was waiting. Dr. Park, I'm Dr. Moon. I've read all your work on alien contact. I'm sorry we're meeting under these circumstances. Show her everything, Sung-min ordered. No more secrets. Dr. Moon nodded and led them to a wall of screens. In 2344, our Mars colony found something buried in the Valles Marineris Canyon. At first, we thought it was just strange rock formations. Then we realized it was artificial. Built by someone. Not human. The screen showed images of the ruins, massive structures carved from Martian rock, symbols that seemed to shift and move, chambers filled with technology that looked impossible. Who built it? Hyunji asked. We don't know their name, Dr. Moon said. But we learned enough. They were warriors. Every piece of their technology was designed for one purpose: war. He showed more images, weapons that looked like works of art, ships that defied physics, and in the center of it all, a message written in dozens of languages. It took us 10 years to translate it, Dr. Moon said. When we did, we almost wished we hadn't. Yunji read the translation on the screen. Her blood went cold. The children of Earth, the forgotten soldiers. When the darkness comes again, they will remember what they are. We leave these gifts so they might survive what is coming. What does it mean? Yunji whispered. We ran genetic tests on human DNA, Dr. Moon said. Compared it to traces we found in the ruins. Humans aren't native to Earth. We were placed here, hidden, protected. Protected from what? From ourselves, Sung-min said grimly. And from those who would use us. Dr. Moon opened another file. Human DNA has locks, genetic sequences that are turned off. The ruins taught us how to unlock them. When we tested it on volunteer, he paused. The results were terrifying. Videos played on the screens. A soldier lifting a car over his head. A woman healing from a bullet wound in minutes. A man moving so fast the camera could barely track him. This is impossible, Yunji said. Lieutenant Kim Tae-hun leads our enhanced unit, Sung-min said. 50 volunteers who have undergone partial unlocking. They train in secret. They are no longer fully human. There's more, Dr. Moon said. He seemed reluctant to continue. The weapons we reverse engineered. They work on principles we don't fully understand. He showed her a small device that looked like a metal spider. Nanophage weapons. They eat matter at the molecular level. Once released, they don't stop until their target is gone. Another screen showed a massive ship in a hidden dock. Dimensional folding technology. The ship exists in multiple dimensions at once. It can appear anywhere instantly. And this, Dr. Moon said quietly, we call it the consciousness transfer system. It can move a human mind into any compatible system. Computers, other bodies, even enemy technology. Yunji felt sick. Why didn't we tell anyone? The colonies should have had these weapons. Because we were afraid, Sung-min admitted. afraid of what we might become if we used them. The message in the ruins warned us. It said our ancestors were the greatest warriors the galaxy had ever seen, so great that the other races joined together to stop them. They didn't kill us. They locked our genetics and hid us on Earth. But now the Dominion has killed our people, Yunji said. Understanding dawned on her face. And you want to unlock everything. Not want, Sungmin said. Need. The Dominion has 10,000 years of experience. They have hundreds of conquered races. We have one advantage. They don't know what we really are. Engineer Lee Hanul entered the room. She was young, maybe 25, but her eyes looked older. Admiral, the dead man's switch is ready for your inspection. They followed her to another chamber. Inside was a massive quantum computer. Lines of code scrolled across screens too fast to read. If Earth falls, Hanul explained, this system activates. Hidden bases throughout human space will launch automated attacks forever. Self-replicating factories will build more weapons. The enemy will face eternal war even if every human dies. That's monstrous, Yunji said. Yes, Sungmin agreed, but it might make enemies think twice about destroying us completely. Lieutenant Kim Tae-hun was waiting in the training area. His unit was running drills. Yunji watched in awe as they moved. They were too fast, too strong. When one soldier was shot with a training round, the wound healed before he hit the ground. How does it feel? Yunji asked Tae-hun. He thought for a moment. Like waking up. All my life I felt like I was moving through mud. Now everything is clear. But sometimes, where he paused, sometimes I have dreams. Memories that aren't mine. Of battles on worlds I've never seen. Genetic memory, Dr. Moon explained. Another gift from our ancestors. Yunji spent the next hours learning everything. The weapons were terrible and beautiful. The enhanced soldiers were living weapons. And underneath it all was the constant question. What had their ancestors been? Why had the galaxy feared them so much? I need volunteers, she said finally. Scientists who will let me unlock their genetics. If we're going to fight the Dominion, we need to understand their science as well as their weapons. Are you sure? Sungmin asked. Once changed, you can't go back. Captain Jiwoo died to send us that message, Yunji said. 50,000 people died because we tried to be peaceful. I won't let their deaths mean nothing. That night, Yunji stood in the medical chamber. Dr. Moon held the injection that would change her forever. Last chance to stop, he said. Do it. The needle went in. Fire raced through her veins. Her vision exploded into colors she had never seen before. Her mind expanded, making connections faster than ever before. And in the back of her thoughts she heard whispers. Voices of the long dead teaching her things humanity had forgotten. When it was over, she looked at her hands. They looked the same, but she could feel the power underneath. The locked potential finally free. What have we become? She asked herself. In orbit, Admiral Sungmin watched Earth's fleet gather. Ships came from every colony that still stood. Miners, traders, explorers, all were being fitted with weapons. The peaceful expansion of humanity was over. He thought about the Dominion's message. They had called humanity a disease. They had no idea how right they were. Diseases adapt. They evolve. They become resistant to whatever tries to kill them. The Dominion had unleashed hell on the human colonies. Now they would learn why the galaxy had once feared the children of Earth. Why their ancestors had been locked away rather than destroyed. Because some weapons are too dangerous to use, and some warriors are too dangerous to wake. But the Dominion had made that choice for them. Now humanity would remind the galaxy why they had once been called the devourers of